is our CGT390 AI final assignment. I'm Jason Speaker.
I'm Kyle Elliott.
And I'm Ayush Harvard-Aker. So a brief synopsis of the project right now. So we are planning to create an enemy AI that essentially dashes towards the player and it can group up with other enemies around it to more effectively hunt down the player.
Yes. And to do this, we use a behavior tree as like sort of our central core part of it. And the way I built it is it's pretty basic in its layout where there's only two main branches, one for chasing the player and one for dashing towards the player. But I built it in a way where based off the evading and hurting behaviors, they could change where the enemies move or dash to dynamically.
Inside steering behaviors, we added uh, a few events. So it'll go into and each enemy will go into steering behavior calculation, and we can put in steering behaviors such as evade here, which will get the player's position when it's dashing and return the opposite. So it'll be able to evade the enemy.
Yeah, all right. So now onto the grouping, which is essentially the main kind of gimmick of our whole kind of enemy. So first, it starts with actually getting into a group. How do enemies get into a group? So first, I kind of thought of like I kind of wanted groups to be very dynamic, and so like there could be multiple groups. They could all be separate and do their own thing, and they should all be, infinitely resizable. So I decided on making group its own object. So essentially, what this does is it essentially says, hey, when two guys meet, if both of you do not have a group, then create a new group and assign both yourselves to it right now. Or if you have a group and the guy you're meeting doesn't have a group, then add him to the group. This makes sure it's very kind of deterministic in the sense that two people aren't like competing for who gets to add who to its group. It's very cohesive and you know goes through well. Next, onto the actual like behaviors of the grouping. First, I basically say whenever a person's ready for attack. This is to have one of the first features of groups, which is basically the group attacks together. The group waits for everyone to be ready, and then it attacks all at once, which is how I do this. So essentially, I get a Blackboard key, I set the group ready value if you're in a group to the value I get from the group. Or if you're not in a group, I just always set it to true so you can act independently the same you would as if you were in a group. And this is how basically we use Jason's kind of like um, place within the Blackboard to change the behaviors to work well with groups. Next, this is kind of just like some visual stuff to help with like to know if they're in a group or not, or if they're idling, or if they're not ready, just for debugging stuff. And this is my social anxiety script. So basically, whenever two get close to each other, they kind of push each other away so they don't get very like cluttered and like bump into each other and like stop each other from dashing. And now we're just gonna demo what we have so far. So right now we have four guys kind of spread out, or five, I guess. And if we hit play, you can see when they turn blue, it means they're ready to attack. And you see they've already joined kind of one cohesive group, although this is kind of random based on Unreal's time. Um, but yeah, you can add as many enemies as you want wherever you want, and they will automatically go into groups based on where you put them. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.